how is President Trump seen as doing on that?
Yeah, you know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. Trump's administration's program to deport those here illegally. Look at this, 54% approval. How about agents searching your hometown for those that they think are here illegally? Again, positive territory here, above 50% for Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, the president, picking a fight on this, and to an extent, you see Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, and the California Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back. So what do voters see in terms of their perceptions of Republicans, the president, or Democrats, say Gavin Newsom, on this issue?
Yeah, the American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration.
It'll be my responsibility as mayor of the city of New York to create entry points into the economy and honor the fabric of this city and of this country, which cannot function, whose future won't be brighter without our immigrants.
And that sounds like that sounds like a great plan, but would you be using taxpayers' money for that?
Yes.
The Donald Trump administration will use the fact that they fund 7% of our city budget as leverage over us to try and give up whichever category of New Yorkers they are pursuing in that day. Ultimately, what we need to do is tell those same institutions we will provide them that funding, and we'll get that funding by taxing the 1% and the wealthiest corporations right here in New York State.
Thank you.
The Democrats have the most radical positions on illegal immigration. They don't want to close the border. They don't want to vet people coming into this country, and they don't want to kick people out who are even violent criminal offenders. And as we just saw, the American people are on the side of Donald Trump when it comes to this issue. That's what all of the polling is showing. Trump is still strong on the border on illegal immigration. And what we also just saw was the New York City mayoral debate where every single candidate said they're going to use taxpayer dollars to basically take care of illegal immigrants. And what we're going to see today, of course, is Scott Jennings taking it to the panel over on CNN over this exact same issue. But before we begin, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Don't undercount the influence of the president among Republican primary voters, his base. They are all enormously happy with him. He is the unquestioned leader of the party. And what he says still very much goes inside of the Republican Party tent. I believe that will include primaries next year.
Does it include people who lose their access to Medicaid or the ones that lose their SNAP
illegal
benefits?
aliens? They don't vote anyway, so I don't guess it'll matter to.
Are you saying that only undocumented
I'm saying
people
we're going to make sure that no
11
undocumented
million
person
people
gets it.
are going to lose their health care?
We're going to make sure that illegal aliens and folks who won't get off grandma's couch and try to work are not going to scam the system, and we're going to preserve it for the people who need it.
The
That's what
able-bodied
we're
work
doing.
provisions.
You can't just say it's like if you're ineligible, if you're lazy, if you're cheating. It's not those people.
It is, but it is.
It's not just
that's the literal target. It is the literal target.
It's not target. Everyone deserves health care.
Even illegals?
Every single person in the world deserves
Just for the
health
record,
care.
as a candidate, you're for illegal aliens getting Medicaid.
I think everyone in the world deserves
That's a
health
yes.
care.
That's a yes.
I'm such a
That's a Democratic position.
It is a yes, but
yeah.
It's a Democratic
Everyone in the
position.
world
Illegal
deserves
aliens should get Medicaid.
But I mean,
How is it controversial?
but
how is it controversial?
How is it controversial that they don't want someone to die in the hospital because they can't afford
Who do you
it?
think pays for health care when undocumented people show up at a hospital? Who pays for that?
We all pay for it.
Exactly.
including
we all
undocumented
pay
people
for
because
it.
they actually contribute.
That's the point. That's the point.
We do realize that undocumented
Who pays for the welfare system in this country generally?
I want to remind
Taxpayers.
you and perhaps everyone else that there's no free lunch here. Okay, you either
for the illegals.
you either have a program.
but they contribute.
Hold on, there's a reason that some states have decided to do this. You either have a program that rationalizes those costs, or you just throw the cost onto taxpayers by default. And so people who have insurance end up paying a lot more because they're subsidizing people who don't.
Can I make a different argument, though? Can I make one different argument just so we can kind of level set? Like, for example, if you actually go through with this and the number of people on Medicaid decreases, what happens in rural places like Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, where I'm from, that means that hospitals are more likely to close down healthcare providers are more likely to shutter. What happens when a hospital closes in a poor rural community? Well, one second. Do you know what happens when that happens? That means the pharmacy closes down. That means the little motel closes down. That means the florist closes down. The restaurant. It destroys your entire economy around it.
So by definition,
so many hospitals closed since DOMS
by
because
definition,
they're afraid of the liabilities.
According to your logic train,
Yes.
we need to let more illegal aliens into the country, give them more health care to keep all the hospitals
let me tell you what I'm saying.
Are you for it or not?
Can I start my logic train with you?
Are you for it or not?
My logic train starts with the fact
just
that
say
I don't
yes.
want to kick 11 million people off
Do you
of
want
Medicaid.
the illegal aliens on or not?
Do I want first of all, do I want undocumented citizens to have
say
health care?
yes.
The answer is yes.
Scott,
Okay.
if someone is
More
undocumented,
Democrats.
do you want them to not get insulin if they're diabetic?
I want Medicaid to exist first and foremost for American citizens who need it. That is what I
what about
want.
second? I mean, first and foremost, of course. But
I want the program to exist and be solvent for the people who
do you
need it.
realize that when people show up at your hospital, that we actually pay for that? Do you understand that when people get sick,
I know
or
how
when
it works.
how about this? How about this? When the people that are picking your peaches. Yeah, I'm passionate
Very
about Americans.
passionate for the illegals.
Bakari,
No, I'm passionate for
How
Americans.
dare you want people to be alive? How dare you?
Passionate for the illegals.
You
Bring
know,
more.
No, I actually want
But yes,
safe and secure borders.
You need more. To make your vision of America work, we need more illegals who get more benefits. That's your version of America.
No, what I want from America is a place that was promised to us, Scott.
To the illegals?
Like you do. No, it was promised to us. It was promised to us,
who?
not us, me and you, black and white, brown. Scott, do you think that your family was
were
born
born
here?
here.
You weren't born here, Scott.
I was born in
First of all,
Dawson Springs.
where does your family come from? My family wasn't born here. My family was actually from Sierra Leone.
You're making a passionate argument
correct
for a
about
country
what our country's
built on unfettered illegal immigration, and that is not anywhere
our
near a
country,
politically popular
Our
position.
country is built on immigration, period.
What kind?
Period.
What kind?
Okay.
Oh, and first of all, before we go to commercial, what kind of immigration was I brought here?
You're already
with?
in the hole. You sure you don't want to stop
No,
digging?
because it was slavery. That's not immigration.
Come on.
Well,
Oh my goodness, Scott Jennings opening up a can on the entire CNN panel, right? Democrats, just come out and say what you really want. You want to have illegal immigrants on Medicare, on Medicaid, on every single social program that we possibly offer to any citizen in this country. However, it appears that the people on this panel are simply not aware that funding from Medicare and Medicaid comes from federal tax dollars. And I'm willing to wager that illegal immigrants are not paying any federal tax whatsoever, right? You may pay state and local tax, right? When you go and buy an item, you have your taxes on there. But federal tax dollars, of course, either get deducted from your paycheck or you pay them when you file at the end of the year. And guess what illegal immigrants aren't doing, all right? And Scott Jennings has to point that out time and time again. But of course, all those leftists over on CNN, they're only worried about Donald Trump kicking people off of the Medicare and Medicaid rolls. No, all we're doing is saying, hey, you have to have an actual work requirement if you're able to, and you're only allowed to be on those rolls if you're actually eligible as well, meaning a legal citizen. And what Scott Jennings actually gets is the blonde there, Kat Abergazella, all right, who's actually running for Congress in Illinois. She actually admits that, yes, she wants every single person, right? It's a human right to have health care. So you come into this country, you don't pay anything into the system, you're not even a citizen, you're not going to contribute, you're just going to take, and you still deserve to be on our Medicare and Medicaid rolls, right? When we talk about the expenditures of the federal government, when we talk about the budget and how we're blowing past it all of the time, the biggest expenditures, of course, are Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and defense spending. So if we can actually remove people from those programs who shouldn't be on there, how much money would that actually end up saving us? Because what Scott Jennings continually refers back to is, who are the people you're talking about? You're talking about the illegal immigrants. You're going to bat for those people and not for the American citizens. And the leftists, the Democrats, they still don't understand that this is why Donald Trump won. Everybody saw that U.S. citizens were taking a back seat to the favorite mascot of the Democrats, which is, of course, the illegal immigrant. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description, where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.